Hello my dear students, welcome to computer science class. Let us continue with our chapter, that is Introduction to C++. So in our previous video we have started what is constant and the classification of constant. So before we proceed, let us know with an example how to make a variable as a constant. So in this example, I have defined a variable that is a of data type as integer here, and I made this variable as a constant by prefixing with a keyword as a const. I am referring it as a keyword. So what is a keyword? Keyword is nothing but it's a predefined or reserved word that makes some special meaning to the compiler. When the compiler looks at this as const, it will understand that further whatever the variable the programmer has given, it should be made as a constant. So what is a constant? Constant is a fixed value whose value cannot be changed during the execution time. That means the variable a will always hold the value as 10. Its value cannot be changed when you define it with as a keyword known as the const. Now this is not an equals to operator, this is actually the assignment operator. Now how this exactly the assignment operator works is, whatever the value is there in the right hand side will be assigned to the left hand side variable. That means the value 10 is being moved into a variable that is a. So this instruction indicates that the value a is being moved into the variable a, which is of constant and of data type as an integer. Similarly, we have the next instruction here as I am moving the value 20 in a variable known as b. Again, its data type is of type what? Integer. What is integer? Integer actually represents the whole numbers without any fractional or the exponential forms. Similarly, I have declared one more variable. I hope you know the difference between declaration and defining a variable. If I am assigning the value like this, int b is equal to 20 and then semicolon, then this statement is what? It is the defining the variable. Whenever I am assigning any value to the variable, its process is defining. What is declaration? Only when I say int a semicolon or int c semicolon, that is declaration. Declaration nothing but it tells the compiler that I am going to use the variable known as c, that's it, of data type as integer. But when defining in a sense, it tells the compiler we are going to use the variable that is b of type integer, which holds the value as 20. This is what is defining a variable. Then moving on to the next instruction here. As we know this assignment operator, how it works is, first the calculation takes place from the right hand side and then the value will be assigned to the left hand side. So here a plus b will be calculated first. That means 30 value will be moved into a variable in the as a c. Now coming to the next instruction here. Now a plus b will be calculated first, which is 30. When the 30 is trying to get moved here, the compiler gives an error. Why? Because a we have already made it as a constant. So what does the constant say? Its value cannot be changed. So a will not accept the new value. Instead, a always remains with the value as 10. Instead of a, if I had written b, is it a valid one or no? Yes, it's a valid one because you didn't make the variable b as a constant. You made it only, it is a simple variable. Therefore, what is a variable? Variable is nothing but it's a name given to the storage location, isn't it? It's a name given to the storage location in computer memory, plus the value of the variable can be changed during the execution time. That means if I write b is equal to a plus b would be the valid one, because b can accept the new value. It will erase this 20 and the new value 30 can be given to the b, wherein a cannot be given because a we have already defined it as a constant. I hope you are able to understand. So let us continue with the further classification of the constants. So I think you know now in what is integer constant. Then we had again classification as decimal, octal, hexadecimal and unsigned constants. Now here we shall move to the next one, that is the character constant. So what is this character constant? Character constant, see, whenever I have to represent any single character, then I should go for the character constant. How do you define the character constant? By specifying the data type as char, like how for the integer we have int as a short, right? Same way here we have as char. This represents it's a character data type followed by the variable name. It's not always it should be a is equal to the single variable. It is nothing but a identifier. What is an identifier? Identifier, it's a process of naming the variables, arrays and function. Now this I can consider it as a variable. According to the rules it is correct. So what does our rule says? The identifier can begin with an alphabet or underscore. It can consist of the letters, digits and underscore. Without except the underscore, there should be no any special character into it. So therefore this is one of the valid identifier. It's a name given to the variable called as ch, wherein we are assigning the p as a character. But how do we represent it? Whenever you are representing any character constant, that character should be enclosed within the single quotes. Okay, say for an example, when I say int a is equal to 10, when I refer, whenever I am representing with the integer or float f is equal to 20.0, I don't need it any single quotes. But if I am representing any character constant, that whatever the character you are assigning, it should be enclosed within the single quotes. But one more thing what you should know here is, see, these character constants will be assigned with the numerical values called as the ASCII values. So what is this ASCII stands for? ASCII stands for the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. See, whenever I press any alphabets from my keyboard, that alphabet will be actually converted to some numerical value. That numerical value is are said as ASCII codes or the ASCII values, we can say. Okay, please note down this abbreviation, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Say for an example, if I press the capital A from my keyboard, okay, it will be replaced with the numerical value 65. If I press B, capital B, it is 66, capital Z 90. Similarly, for A it is small a 97, B 98, Z for 122, 0 for 48. Similarly for numbers plus the special characters also. So now the question is, why these ASCII codes are being used? Okay, why it is not the as simple as alphabet as only as P? See, why these ASCII codes have come into existence? Because in the earlier days there were different computer manufacturers were there, and they were using their own mapping for for the understanding, for the processing purpose. Okay, but later it was not able to they were the different manufacturers computer systems, they were not able to share the any files or the data because their language was entirely different. They were unable to exchange or communicate with each other. Now I'll just explain this one with a real-time example. Suppose if two persons are there, one person know Kannada, the other person know Hindi. Okay, both doesn't know the common language between them, then can they communicate with them? No, right? This one first person A knows only Kannada, so he can communicate only in that language. Person B only know Hindi, can communicate. Since there is no common language between them, they cannot share the files. Okay, there will be no any communication. This was the situation in the earlier days. Then ASCII codes came into existence. That is American Standard Code for Information Interchange. These ASCII codes were being made as a standard codes that each and every manufacturer should abide for. Then this became a common language between the different manufacturers of the computers. Once they became the standard and the common language, then the different computer systems started communicating with each other. They were able to exchange the files. Okay, they were able to exchange, it might be the files or any documents it might be. Okay, say for example, as I said, person A knows Kannada, person B knows Hindi, but both also of them knows the English language. They know English. So English now it became the common language. Then they started communicating with each other in the English language. Same way these ASCII codes also had come into existence. They provided as a common standard, a common language to the different computer manufacturers. See, you can have the ASCII codes were given to the special characters also, ASCII codes were given to the numbers also, ASCII codes were given to the uppercase, like alphabets, ASCII codes were given to the lowercase. So whatever you are trying to enter from the keyboard, everything will be converted in the form of ASCII codes, and then further again from ASCII to the machine understandable language it will be understood by the computer system at the time of processing. So this is how whatever the character constant you are defining there will be converted with a numerical value. Those numerical values are said to be as an ASCII. Now look at here. Whenever you are pressing as add from your keyboard, it is converted to 64. When you are entering as a capital A, it is 65. So on. When it comes to the small a, it is representing 97. Similarly for the numbers also, they are provided with the ASCII codes. I hope students you are able to understand. Now let us move on to some other characters that is escape sequence characters. So there are certain non-graphic characters are there which wherein we cannot directly enter from the keyboard in the language. Okay, say for example new line character. New line character means if I want one statement, two statements are there. Hello, good morning. Hello and good morning, it's not one word. Hello is one word, good morning is one word. But I don't want that hello and good morning to be appeared in a single statement. Instead I want it to appear in the two different statements. In two different lines I want it to appear. Then what I said, I have to use the new line character. How that I am representing the new line character is, I have to give it as a \n I have to represent. So \n. So directly only n if you represent. Actually n is a new line character. When I press actually as a n, it would convert into the ASCII codes. It will consider it as an alphabet, but I don't want that. I want it has to appear into the new line. So there are certain non-graphic character which wherein we cannot directly type it from the keyboard. So like for example backspace, like for example tab, and like for example carriage return. What is this carriage return? Carriage return, if I want to bring the cursor to the beginning of the line, then I can go for the carriage return. So such kinds of characters can be represented by using the escape sequence. How do I represent the escape sequence characters? By preceding with the \, then followed by the character. Say for an example \n. This is a new line character. It makes the two words to appear in the two different lines. Now there are some other escape sequence characters table I'll be showing, but before to that, what is the definition of the escape sequences? It is actually a string, okay, which is used to control the output onto the monitor and which are being represented by the single character. And what is the size of this character constant is 1 byte. See, the size of integer is about 2 bytes. The size of the floating point actually is 4 bytes, and the size of the character constant always it takes only about the 1 byte. 1 byte means how many? 8 bits. Okay. Now I'll be showing here. See, if I want to just give a single quote, if I want to appear it in my output statement, then when you just give a single quote, it will not print. If I want this single quote, I have to proceed with the \ here. Now this is nothing but the escape sequence character. If I want this single quote directly, I cannot directly it will not, because this single quotes and all, it is a special character. It takes some ASCII value. How do you make the difference between that ASCII value? It's a normal ASCII value, or how do you make it as an escape sequence character? Because of that, we are proceeding with the \. So if I want to give any single quote, then go for the \ single quote, like this double quotes, fine. If I want to give the question mark, so \ question mark, \ if I just want to give. So this by default, this \ will be there for everything. If null character, if I want to represent, then \, okay, 0 it is. Then audible bell if I want to give, \a, backspace, okay, form feed, okay, line feed, that's a new line, \n. Okay, new page if I want to go, then it is going for the form feed. Carriage return, fine. Horizontal tab if I want to give \t, vertical tab if I want to give, that is \v. So you may say that how it is being used, we doesn't know. When we start with the programming and everything, you will get to know how we are using the escape sequence. So before we start with the programming concepts, we should make sure that all the theory concepts you should know. Okay, what are the tokens, what are the constants in that, different kinds of constant. If you're very much clear with the theory concepts, then only when we write the programs you can clearly understand. Okay, I hope you are able to understand the students. Okay, next we shall move to the string constant, a very important and very interesting topic, that is the string constant. So what exactly the string constant? So character constant is nothing but whenever I need to specify only a single character, then better go for the string constant, sorry, character constant. But when you have the sequence of characters to be given, say for example Prerna, it is not a single character, RERANA, it is, we are having the string of constants there. Sorry students, so we are having the string of constants, we have having the sequence of constants. Whenever you have to give the sequence of constants, then you have to represent it with the string constants. So how do I represent the string constants? By making use of the arrays. Okay, by making use of the arrays. So a string is a sequence of characters that are enclosed in double quotes. Okay, say for example, now when I say about the Prerna, so each one character, Prerna, it is each one character is taking the, each one byte it is taking. How many characters, those many bytes it is taking. Now how do I represent? Example I'll show you so that you can clearly understand. Now here, hello is nothing but it is the sequence of characters, am I right? H is one character, E, L, L, O. There are the sequence of characters. Whenever in such case, if I want to give the sequence of characters, then it should be enclosed with the double quote. Then how it has been stored into the memory? Next question is how it is stored. HELLO, then with the null character. This is what just now we have seen. If I want to represent with a null character, it should be given with the escape sequence character. That is what the slash you can see here. So this null character indicates that it is the end of the string. Why we call it as a string? String is nothing but if it is a sequence of characters, then we call it as a string. And how do you represent it? You have to represent it in the double quotes and then followed here in memory. You are giving it in this way, but how it will be stored in the memory with the null character? Here I'll show you. Say for an example, Prerna. This is how you are giving, but how it will be stored into the memory? That is Prerna and then with followed by the null character. Computers followed by the null character. 2015 with the null character. Okay, so therefore each one character is taking 1 byte. That means what is the total? Each one character is taking with a 1 byte plus it will take 1 more byte. Say for example, what is the size of the hello is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus it will consider with a null character, the total size it is taken in the memory will be the 6 bytes. Now here I'll show you so that you can clearly understand. See, this is how the hello string will be stored into the computer memory. Each one will be, character will be stored in one memory location. Now this is address. I hope you know. These are nothing but the storage locations in the memory, right? Computer memory. HELLO plus it will be added with the null character. Now what is this null character? What it indicates? It indicates that is the end of the string. Okay, it will indicate the end of the string. Now this how we are defining by having the data type as char. Then I am telling it as a string. This is my variable name of string. But actually, if I give str hello, it will not be able to store. Str will become a simple variable and it could able to store only a single character. But if I want to represent with a sequence of characters, then I have to make use of an array concept. What is an array? Array is nothing but it is the ordered collection of elements but of same data type. Now here is an ordered collection of elements. These are all the collection of elements, but what are the data types of it? All the data types are of type character only. Therefore one more example I can give here. I can give here char name. I can give as char name of 6. Char name of 6 I can give. Okay, similarly, if I want to store the name of 10 students, if I want to give, then I can give char, name of 10 I can give. That means, okay, you can store the n number of 10 number of students, names you can store into the computer memory location. And similarly, if I want to store the string as C++ programming, if I want to store, you just count how many bytes it will take. 1, 2, 3, space is there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. One more extra for the null representing, that is null character. Total it will be taking 16 bytes. But what I have given the size as 20. That's fine, you can give more. But total size of how much it will taking the size in the memory, that is the 16 bytes. I hope students you are able to understand. Now herein, therefore, because of the presence of this null character, the size of the string will be always increased by 1 character. Then what will be the size of the computers? It will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Because the presence, it will be stored with a null character, always it will be increased by 1. And always characters in a string are stored in contiguous memory location. Contiguous memory locations means what? Without any gap, continuously, like H. There will be no gap here. It will be E, L, L, O. It will not be storing like H space, again L, not space, blank, E, blank, L, again L, O. No, it will not be stored in this way. It will be always stored into the contiguous memory locations. I hope you are able to understand. Then terminating with a null character is very important because it shows where the string ends. See, when the computer will start reading char string of 6, that means 6 bytes it is telling. The size here it is specifying as 6 bytes. Okay, 6 characters you can store. Okay, as hello when you are storing, computer will start reading H, E, L, L, O. After when it encounters the null character, it will understand that this is the end of the string and hence it will stop reading. This is why the null character is important. It is for the understanding of the compiler to indicate that it is the end of the string. I hope students you are able to understand. One more time, this concepts I will be telling you in the doubt clarification class also I will be explaining. I hope students string constants are being clear to you. Okay. So this actually completes the entire classification of constants. It's a very important question, 5 marks question. Explain the classification of constants they may give, or explain the classification of literals. In that case, you need to draw the diagram, then you have to mention the classification, what is an integer constant, okay, again give its classification, okay, then you have to give you have to write about the floating point, then explain it, give one example, again character string constant you have to write the definition, give one example, then string constant and give one example. This is how it covers exactly the 5 marks question, but it's a very very important question. Now let us move on to the punctuators. Okay, punctuators always act as separators. Okay, now this punctuators gives the syntax and the semantic meaning for the compiler, and they do not themselves specify any operations that would yield a value for it. Say for example, I'll show the programming example so that you can clearly understand. Now punctuators, as I said, act as a separator. Look at this, comma used as separators. Now say for an example, where did I use these punctuators? Int a is equal to 5, comma b is equal to 10, comma c. Now these comma are nothing but these are actually the punctuators which are acting as the separators. Okay, they are acting as separator. Plus then we have the colon. Colon is used to provide the label to the statement. Suppose for example we have one switch statement we are having, therein we have actually case 1, case 2 and all. So in that case we are actually using the colon. Apart from this, in the programming also you can use the colon here. The sum of two numbers is colon. Actually this is not the one where you have to use it. Okay. So in case of switch statement we are using the colon there. So when we come for the switch statement explanation, that time I can give. Okay, then one more is semicolon. It is used to represent the statement terminator. You look, observe here, each and every statement here, it should end with the semicolon. This indicates that it is the end of this particular statement. Then whatever the next you are writing, it indicates the beginning of the statement. Again, when you compiler looks at this, semicolon, it indicates that it is a terminate. This statement is terminated. That means it is the end of this particular statement. So this is again a punctuator here. Then we have the square brackets. Square brackets used to represent the array subscript. Previous example, right? So char str of 6, where we have used this one, right? Now this is a subscript. This is a subscript. This is nothing but the punctuators. Okay, whenever you have to define it as an array. Okay, what is array? Array is nothing but the collection of elements of same data type. Okay, so whenever you are representing any array, you are using that particular subscript. Then we have the flower brackets. Flower brackets, where we have used, isn't it? It is marking the beginning of the program and it is marking the end of the program. Again, these are the punctuators. Okay, then we have the round brackets, like whenever we have to represent the function calls or the group functions, okay, like sum of, average of, some group of functions, there we are using the round brackets. Understood? I think functions get get data, display functions. I said this round bracket means it is a function. Then we have the punctuator as an hash, which is nothing but preprocessor directive, isn't it? We have discussed this part, right? So this is again an it is a punctuator that tells it is we have to include the module as IOStream. We are linking with this module with your program code. Your program is a different code and IOStream is a different module. Module in the sense is it's a different file actually. It is already been written. It is already there in the C software, C++ software. I am just linking this module with my program code so that I need not to write the code for cout and cin and all. Okay, I'm directly, whenever cout it encounters no compiler, it will go to this module, see the functionality, what is the cout functionality, and it will link from this module to this module. Isn't it? It is saving our time. Am I right? So we are using, to include that, we are using the punctuator, that is the hash we are using. Then one more last punctuator, that is the escape sequence, that is used to represent the escape sequence characters. So these punctuators, they doesn't yield anything if they are using independently. They have to abide by something like hash abided by with the include. Okay, then like semicolon should be indicates the end of the statement. Okay, then the comma operators, they independently they are not yielding any value to it. Instead, but they are giving syntax and semantic meaning to the compiler. See, syntax and semantic meaning. Syntax in the sense means what? Set of the rules to be followed. It is giving the rules to be followed. Say for an example, if I have to declare more than one variable, it is a rule that it should be separated by the comma. I hope you are able to understand. Then it is also giving the semantics also to the compiler. That means what? It is telling the logic. Okay, it is providing the rules plus it is providing the logic to the compiler, how you can how you can use the punctuators as a separators, how you can use the terminators, okay, how you can use the punctuators like hash, how you have to use the brackets, like this is a round bracket, right? This is a round bracket, how you should use the flower brackets. So they cannot be independently used. Okay, independently they don't have any value, but instead they have to be used with abided by the some other statement. So that is what is the punctuators are. Students, I hope you are able to understand with this complete classification of the constants and then the punctuator. See, these are all the different topics that we are going to cover so that when we write the program, you are able to understand it clearly. I hope it is quite little bit difficult, but if you see the videos again and again, definitely you would understand it. But once we are meeting in our live classes, okay, again if any doubts are there, definitely I would clear in that classes. I hope students you are able to understand. Take care of yourself, students. Thank you.